Number 1. The true hidden cost of a record deal. Have you ever thought about what really goes on with record deals and labels? It's pretty shocking when you get into the details. People often talk about how the music industry can really take advantage of artists, almost like they're being robbed of what's rightfully theirs. This isn't just a wild idea I'm throwing out. It's a serious issue that's been discussed for a long time.
They started this back a half decade ago, maybe a decade ago.
Than I could have ever imagined. I'm with you. I think there's a focus on streaming, AI. I think there's a focus on just replacing you guys, the artists,
right? Yeah.
The artists. They got. I think there's a focus on the world music.
Comparing the treatment of artists to being raped is a strong and disturbing metaphor, but it's used because the situation can be that harsh. Putting something negative out into the world isn't pleasant, but it's important to shed light on the truth. These contracts that artists sign can often leave them with very little, while the record labels get the lion's share of the profits. It's like the artists are bound by chains that look shiny on the outside, but are actually pretty tight and restrictive. So why do artists keep finding themselves in trouble with the record labels? Take someone like Meek Mill, a rapper who has made it big but claims he hasn't made money from his music. Or consider the group TLC, who made one of the greatest albums ever and sold millions of records, yet they couldn't even afford to pay $155,000 for a lawsuit. These stories are all too common and show a bigger problem that runs deep in the music business. The sad truth is that while the songs fill up stadiums and climb the charts, the artists behind them often struggle, feeling cheated and defeated by endless legal issues and confusing financial statements. The industry, like a cunning player in a game, knows all the rules and plays them expertly, leaving little chance for the artist to come out ahead. Some might say that these artists knew what they were getting into and that they had a choice. But what real choice is there when the gatekeepers of your dreams are the ones who know how to play the system to their advantage? This pattern of exploitation, followed by brief moments of success, is often hidden behind the glamour of award shows and gold records, a thin layer that hardly covers the underlying issues. Next time you listen to a popular song, think about the difficult path the artist had to take to bring that music to you. Behind the scenes, they might be fighting hard battles, crying in silence, and trying to keep up their strength in an industry that should have supported them better. Their stories are a warning to those who are just starting out in music, filled with hope, but cautious about entering the spotlight. Imagine you're a new rapper who just got signed by a big music company with a deal worth $4 million. It sounds amazing, right? All that money seems like it's going to change your life. But here's the thing. That money isn't really yours. It's kind of like borrowing a huge amount that you have to pay back, and the contract you signed to get it can be really confusing. Let's look at the group TLC as an example. They became super famous and sold over 10 million albums. You'd think they made a ton of money, right? Wrong. Each member of the group only got about $15,000, and they actually ended up owing money. Yes, they were in debt. Despite their fame, they couldn't afford anything fancier than a basic car, a RAV4, which is a pretty standard vehicle, not something you'd expect a superstar to drive. This huge difference between what people think artists earn and what they actually get is common in the music industry. It's a little secret that not many know about. When you sign a contract, you're not just getting money, you're agreeing to pay back every penny the company spends on you. They'll tell you, we're going to make you a star. But what that really means is, we're going to spend a lot of money on making you famous, which you will then owe us. Let's explain this further. The money your label spends isn't a gift. It's more like a loan. They pay for marketing, recording your music, producing it, and making those cool music videos. But here's the catch. You have to pay all of that back before you see any real profit. You might dream of fancy cars and big houses, but many artists end up living a much more humble life. You hear about big checks and think you'll live the high life, but the reality can be a lot of debt and stress. You're sold the dream of fame and fortune, but you might end up with a nightmare of debts. The music industry looks glamorous, but it can be pretty tough on artists. It's set up in a way that can really take advantage of them. When you get a deal, it's important to understand every part of your contract. Don't get caught up in the excitement without knowing what you're getting into.
Why did Amazon send me $20,000? Because I use Amazon AI. I'm going to show you a way.
Remember the stories of those who found out the hard way. The music business doesn't just produce songs, it also produces cautionary tales of what can happen when you don't pay attention to the details. Always make sure you know what you're signing, so your dreams of stardom don't turn into financial nightmares. Imagine entering into a deal that feels like you're borrowing money from someone who isn't very nice, but this time, that person is dressed up like a fancy business and calls itself a record company. They offer you $4 million to help you make your music album, which seems like a great help at first. However, when you sign your name on their contract, you might not realize just yet that this deal is going to tie you up in some tricky financial ways. But getting a record deal is just the beginning.
You good?
All right. Hey.
No. You good.
It's dope.
Number 2. Trapped by a $4 million contract. This $4 million isn't just given to you, it's actually a loan, which means it's money that you'll have to pay back. From the moment you agree to this, every dollar you make from your music has to first go toward paying back this big loan. The record company, sitting comfortably because they're protected, makes sure they get back the money they gave you before you see any profit. When it's time to split any money left after paying back the loan, don't expect things to be split fairly. The idea of sharing the profits evenly, half and half, isn't going to happen. Instead, whatever money is left continues to be divided in a way that favors the record company. This ensures they always end up with more, leaving you, the artist, to collect much less. At the same time, famous people like Kerry Washington go on TV to say they're hosting shows like Saturday Night Live, with guests like Eminem.
Hi, I'm Kerry Washington, and I'm hosting Saturday Night Live this week with musical guest Eminem.
This is fun. Are you having fun?
Of course.
And Eminem, are you having fun?
Adding some sparkle to the whole music business. They talk about how much fun they're having,
Two of us are having fun.
which contrasts sharply with the tough deals being made behind the scenes in the music industry. These public appearances, full of excitement and smiles, hide the harsh reality that many musicians face when they sign contracts that aren't in their best interest. It's an odd mix of fun on the surface and tough business dealings underneath. The music industry, acting like that not-so-nice lender, but in a much fancier outfit, keeps drawing in musicians with promises of fame and success. However, these promises often come with hidden costs that are buried deep within complicated contracts and cheerful public announcements. The advance you're about to receive seems like a huge amount of money, one that might trick you into thinking you've really made it. It's the kind of cash that might make you feel on top of the world, ready to show off to those who doubted you. You could be driving through your neighborhood in the newest, flashiest car, making everyone jealous and feeling like you've just won big. I'm the proudest, most successful person around, you might say, feeling like you're making history in your own unique way. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement. Suddenly, you're wearing the most expensive clothes, surrounded by people who seem to admire you, all while you dismiss the struggles you faced to get here. You might even thank the big names in the industry who noticed you, feeling grateful and validated. At that moment, you might feel like nothing can touch you. However, this big amount of money isn't as great as it seems. It's actually more like a trap. Many people end up spending all this money on fancy clothes, jewelry, and other luxury items very quickly. They think these things will show everyone how successful they are, but all these purchases start to add up. You might think you're building up your image, but you're also digging yourself into a hole of debt. This is a common trick in the industry, to make you feel rich and successful while actually keeping you dependent on them. As you enjoy your new fame and the attention that comes with it, it's easy to miss how you're slowly getting more and more trapped by your spending. The industry sees another young talent they can profit from, another story of rags to riches that might not end well. You become a part of a show where you're both the main character and the audience, dazzled by your own story. But the real story, the one that involves your actual financial health, is hidden behind the glamorous scenes written in contract terms that aren't in your favor. They really do thank you for playing along because it keeps the show going. Look at this shiny new remote control. It looks like a black Lamborghini. It's not just any remote. It's designed to show off wealth, just like the black accessories I wear. A pink ring and 2 bracelets. I flaunt these things casually, and people can't help but be impressed. They stop and stare, constantly a mazid, repeatedly saying, "Wow," as they look on. The record company really pushes this kind of spending. They suggest you buy these fancy things and share pictures on social media to look successful. They even help you find the best places to buy luxury cars and expensive jewelry, making it seem like they're doing you a favor. But let's not forget the details of that big $4 million contract you signed. It came with a $1 million upfront payment. But remember, this money isn't just given away. It comes with strings attached. As a rapper, this upfront money is meant to be paid back through your music, concerts, and merchandise. It's like a loan. While everyone else sees only the luxury and glamour, there's a hidden side to it. That upfront money is part of a bigger plan where you end up owing more than you might realize. Every flashy item and each post you share online isn't just for fun. It's a step towards deeper debt. The music industry benefits from your image and keeps making money, while you have to keep.
What if I told you investing wasn't just for the suits and ties? It's for everyday folks like you and me. And if you have no
Keep up with the expectations and pay back what you owe. It's all part of the game. So you've landed a big $3 million deal, which sounds great, right? But hold on. Right off the bat, you're down $1 million because that's what you owe your record label. Before you even get started, before any music is made, you're already in debt. Now it's time to start recording your album. The label sets you up in this fancy studio with all the best equipment. They say it's all for you, to help you make the best album possible. Next, let's see what recording is really like. Number 3. The strategic stranglehold of record labels. But here's the thing. Everything in that studio is super expensive. The label tells you it's all top-notch and necessary for your music. They hook you up with the most famous producers, the ones who charge a lot of money. Sure, these producers are good, but they're also eating up your budget fast. You might start to feel like you're not in charge of your own music. The label is making all these decisions about who you work with and where you record. On the Off the Record podcast, DJ Academics talks about how labels often control artists like this. They're not just trying to help. They're also trying to make sure they get a big return on their investment. They push you to spend more, which means you owe more. It's like being guided every step of the way. But this guidance comes with strings attached. You're not just making music, you're also constantly spending money on what the label says you need. This makes it tough for any artist to keep their own vision, and could even mess up how much money you make in the future. It's like you're paying twice, once with your creativity, and again with your freedom to make your own choices. Crafted the scheme were barely batting an eyelid as they neatly engineered a financial straitjacket around the aspiring rapper.